So this month I decided to do a review on Stranger Things: The Upside Down, which was very timely because the third season just came out. But also, this was a set that it was a radical departure for Lego in terms of its content. You know, it's definitely something that you wouldn't necessarily think we, being a children's toy company, would actually produce.
Exploding rats.
Yeah, you know, demonic beings and all that interdimensional fun time. But the show has a huge following, especially amongst the designers, as it turns out. And the set does actually incorporate a lot of things that don't really harken to the violence of the show, which admittedly is not very gory. It's a creepy show, it's definitely not for children. But this is part of the new direction that LEGO wants to go as far as creating sets off of themes that are more designed for adults beyond just what LEGO ideas can produce. The designers have a lot of great ideas for things that they like and they want to share it too. So this is just going to be part of that kind of wave. And you can also see that here with the Jurassic Park set as well. In the fact that... Yes, exactly. I would like to start off by just saying that you guys have both built the Upside Down, and you both had some interesting, different experiences with it. But I just like to get your perspective on it because this is rare. We don't have a lot of sets, new stuff like this where other people have actually had the opportunity to build it and provide different feedback for it. So, first things first, you know, the thing you're going to notice is that, holy crap, this thing is a mirror build. You know, this is pretty remarkable, and it stands up under its own weight. So one of the really clever things that I think that they did was to not only use the trees as a base to which to stand on it, but was able to do it in such a way that they could make a flat surface. They were also able to essentially use these clips in strategic points, both with the tree, which you would really be able to see, but they're in there, and then along the rear side and front side throughout, just to kind of keep things together. And the end result is, interestingly enough, very, very stable, although you had mentioned that you were having some difficulty before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically, when I built mine,
Mm-hmm.
when I went to put the trees on, I put one side correctly, and then I put the other side, the upside down tree, right side up. So I had to remove that, and once you get those ball joints in, it's very difficult to put them back in because they're very insecure. So while pulling out, and I needed my friend to help me hold the building while I pulled them out, the top side and the bottom side buildings kind of fell apart because I found that the builds have a lot of points where there's one connection, so they're a little iffy on certain parts of the building. So I had to go back in and basically reconstruct everything almost again and kind of.
Yeah, and that is true. I've also seen that there's a lot of weaker connection.
The porch is one.
I was going to mention. So Brian and I talked after you made the comment in Discord, and both of us built it after you did. And I think going into building it, I was very aware of your criticisms, so I was unintentionally, but I was extra careful. And I could see how I didn't have a problem, but I could see how it would be problematic if it's a little flimsier than the usual Lego build. The porch especially.
Yeah.
It has a lot of nice detail to it, but it is a little flimsier than what I would expect from an official build. Although once you finally clip it together, it does stay together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of weaker points of it than I think it would like, but I would say that that's more to try and get the look of the house versus the functionality of it. One thing that I noticed in particular that's actually pretty weak is that these columns, you have plates running across the top, so the columns are just there, and they're all sort of aligned with just a white jumper plate on the top, which you can barely see. Well, if you don't get that on, they're gonna start to do that and not quite align themselves right. So you notice it, and then you gotta kind of adjust and hope that your roof doesn't pop off and things like that. But in typical fashion, I mean, I can take this right here and pick it up and flip it. And it is fine. Absolutely fine. Speaking of which, you may have noticed that there is a delightful Chevy K-Fly Blazer right here. That doesn't move. How in the world did they do it? Well, it's actually very simple. It's simply attached to a peg. Now, the truck itself, I will say, is probably my favorite part of the build, hands down. The look and the aesthetic of the old school Blazers is really, really well done. And remarkable that they were able to, admittedly with a combination of brick design and sticker work, were able to get that shape down really well. Some of the features that I found the most enjoyable was the very subtle hood bulge that they were able to achieve in the forward section, but also the very, very clever way that they were able to create these side windows. And of course the obligatory pumpkin is in the back as well. Ask your Stranger Things fans about that. That these are built using a sideways technique and then clipped in to this bar on the side. So essentially, the effect, you see that they would otherwise just rotate out like that. But when put together, they hold their place really, really well and create that sort of back end that's very iconic for the earlier K5 era Blazers. Fun fact, which is actually called out in the building instructions, the creators of Stranger Things really harken back to as much 70s and 80s nostalgia as possible, particularly the movie Jaws. As you can see from the stickers, he has his Jaws poster in his room, but the Blazer itself was inspired by the sheriff's car from Amity Island in Jaws. She had a similar Blazer. So, and even the aesthetic of it is very, very similar. So I thought that that was pretty cool. And in fact, the building instructions themselves are worth mentioning. As you can see, you build it mirror-wise. There's the sort of official looking documentation, one in the normal realm, one in the upside down realm. And they are chock full of just fun and interesting little factoids about the show, which is a nice touch, I think. A lot of these more expensive Lego sets have been getting more recently. The set itself obviously comes with a litany of different figures. You get the 4 kids all here in a nice little stand to put them on. You also get the supporting characters, the sheriff, the mom, and 11, excuse me. I don't know where I got that from. Yep, I'm good. Can you tell I'm not a watcher of the show? But no, 11, with her little Lego waffles too, which I thought was a delightful piece rather than just a fun little nod. So the inside of the set, as you can imagine, is just the buyer's house, and it is also mirror-wise. Now, I will call out that, as you can see, I didn't really put a lot of the stickers on, and I'll explain that in a moment, but nominally, these 2 plates would have the light alphabet stuck on them, and they would attach themselves just behind the windows. Here you can see the attachment points on either side. So very, very cool little things. The wizard's hat for his Dungeons and Dragons. You have the bear trap to try and catch the Demogorgon. You have his bedroom and all that with the video camera and everything. And then everything else over here is just a very spooky and ominous look. As far as parts usage, this is really the main appeal for the set, for me at least. I don't know about you guys, but I love the parts. The more I got into the set, the more I realized that there was a lot of fun and interesting elements that were used, and were used very well to create the design. You get a lot of beautiful dark colors for the upside down. The house is actually put together really, really well, using a lot of snot bricks to create the walls and the siding on the house. as well. The roof design in and of itself is actually very well done and incorporates a lot of gray semi-tiled parts as well to really get not only the look of their house well, but can just be incorporated into so many different things. And between all the earth tones and the dark colors, this is a set that I would say finds its best value, and you know, it's not cheap. It's a $200 set as a parting, you know, to be parted out, and that's basically what I intended to do with it. Hence the reason why not a lot of the stickers have been applied.
If I could jump in, I would, as a fan of the show, I would disagree. I am going to keep mine together on the shelf as a display piece, but I would agree that the parts selection is a wonderful selection. You know, if there's ever a sale on it, I'd be tempted to pick up another one to get some of the parts.
Yeah.
And if I may, you've continually said that the two houses are a mirror build, although I think they even call out the instructions. There are enough differences that it doesn't feel repetitive.
No, it
Yes,
doesn't.
and that's
It's really interesting. You know you're building the same house, but it's different enough that you don't feel like you're working it.
Yeah, and that definitely is true. There is just enough of a slight difference where, you know, to Steve's credit, you definitely feel like you're building two houses, even though they look very, very similar. I will say though that as far as building this set is concerned, if I had to have a gripe about it, it really was the trees.
Yeah, I built them in tandem because I knew, so I built them both at the
They
same
were
time.
very repetitive, very uninteresting, not the most fun thing in the world, and you had to build them both in tandem.
It almost felt like after building the house, building the trees is like kind of depressing. You're like, okay, I have the two houses, I want to sandwich them together, and now I need to build these boring trees.
Mm-hmm.
I plan on displaying mine like without the upside down or mirroring it towards the back. 'Cause I kind of don't want that thing to drop over and have to rebuild it again. So I kind of want to, because I know if you take the back clips off and replace them with plates, you can basically butt them behind each other.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I should call out, this does light up. It does have a little light brick back here in the main house. So again, imagining that the panel here with the sticker on it was there, it kind of gives the effect of the Christmas lights lighting up. It's not the best, but it's a fun little call out to the show. So as I've said before, I personally have not watched the show. I can't say that for me the big appeal for this is being a fan of Stranger Things. That being said, I certainly appreciate the work that's been done, and I certainly appreciate the fact that, you know, there are still so many nods and fun little inside call-outs to different elements of the show that if you are a fan like them, this is an absolutely delightful display set. So, you know, to summarize, you know, in my usual way, is it a builder? Is it a displayer? Is it a seller? Again, is this a builder? Is this something that you want to build and have on display and play with? This is definitely not a play set. It may look like a play set, but there's just no utility. There's no real way to maneuver very, very well. Again, this is for adults. The people who are going to buy this aren't really going to play with it if they choose to build it. That being said, this is definitely, obviously, a display piece. And what a display piece. I mean, this is something that if you are a Stranger Things fan, it's just so unique and so well executed in terms of the subject matter that you have a hard time not finding something you're going to enjoy about this.
And I would say it's, you know, I've had non-Lego friends come over, see mine sitting on the shelf, and they're drawn to it. So it is very much because it's an iconic series, it's a very much a display piece, a conversation piece.
Mm-hmm. And finally, you know, is this a collector's set? And the answer most probably is going to be yes. Now keep in mind when I talk about is this a collector's set, is this a set that's going to hold value or grow in value, that kind of thing over time? And with new stuff, it's always very difficult to determine that. However, thanks to this current sort of trend with the adult themed sets, it's very unlikely that we're going to continue to see a Stranger Things theme continue in a major way. Maybe we get another one-off, maybe we're lucky and get another set of something, should there be the opportunity to do so, as we've seen, for instance, with Ghostbusters or even with The Simpsons, where we had 2 sets. But by and large, mostly what you're going to look at as a one-off here. And if the show does continue to be a success and be as much of a cultural touchstone as it is now, then there's no doubt, in my mind at least, that yeah, this set could very well grow in value over time. This is a collectible. This is something that it's so unique, it's so different, and yet there may not be anything like it until such time as we either adopt Stranger Things outright, or, you know, for some reason we come out with Upside Down Mark II. I don't see the Upside Down in it. So overall, I like the set a lot. Again, even though I'm not a fan of Stranger Things, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I enjoyed it probably more for its parts, but I'm really happy with the build. I was really happy the way it turned out, and I would definitely recommend purchasing it. You're talking about a little over 3,000 pieces. I don't have the box here at the moment, so I can't do it. Yeah. So it's a big one. And a lot of those parts, mind you, are very small. But I would say on value, it works really, really well. And this is something that, again, if you have the means, go out and buy it, because there's going to be something about it for everyone to like, not just for the show.
It is a set that, you know, as many of us do, we buy sets and then sometimes add them to a growing backlog.
Yeah.
This is one that I bought and I built right away. I felt compelled to build it right away, and I don't regret that.
You're not gonna flip it for us, are you?
I can flip it one more time if you like.
No. I mean, like, and put it down.
Yeah.
I saw you hold it upside down, but I'm like waiting for the moment.
Do it.
Proof.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So it does actually stay on its side, and you know, it just looks great no matter which way you put it up. So I actually liked this a lot more than I thought I would, and I was very pleased with the way it came out. So Stranger Things, the Upside Down, definitely worth one to pick up for sure.